How you doing?
Good. Thank you so much for joining this. So I saw investing in YouTube. I'd love to hear what you got, and we'll chat.
Man, you're amazing, dude. First of all, do you like my Teslas here? Look.
Oh, you're sorry. Let me see. Let me look in full here. Oh, look
There
at
you go.
that. Yeah, we got Teslas on the sides. Oh, I really like that. Look at that. That's awesome, man. Yeah.
Dude, listen, man, you're amazing. So, first of all, it's a great honor to be here. Thank you for the opportunity, right?
Thank you.
You know what I want to ask you is first of all, you're the only dude that's family oriented on YouTube, Like this is great. This is something that you don't really get, and that's I really something I appreciate, right?
Well, thank you.
Did you buy any Tesla today, man? The pre-market was crazy. Did you see that?
No, I didn't. Usually I don't buy pre-market. For me, it's
Okay.
like I don't know, like pre-market is so unpredictable.
I
It's
know.
crazy. Like sometimes you see it down a little bit in pre-market, and then it just drops like a rocket open, and you get a better deal. And sometimes the opposite happens. Like today, it went green.
Okay. So first of all, what happened? I don't know if I'm not gonna include this if you don't want me to, but what happened to Million Money, dude? Like what happened
Yeah.
to
It's better if they do it in person.
Okay.
The in person is so much of a better dynamic. And honestly, I think everybody's tired of the whole like Zoom meetings and all that kind of stuff. But another thing that's challenging for me is that like
Mhm.
6 o'clock at night, I'm dead. I'm up at like 4:45 in the mornings, and so we would always film those at 6 at night. I'm like,
That's
I
it.
just can't film this late anymore. I'm tired. I just want to hang out with the family or go on
And
a
then
go-kart or something.
tattoo chef is not the way to go either, so I feel you, man.
Oh,
Okay. So okay, that's great. How do you structure your day? That's my first question. How do you structure your day? How do you decide what's a priority for you, man?
yeah. I mean, usually the biggest priority at the beginning of the day is trying to understand everything that I can understand that happened in the market.
Mhm.
So somewhere between 4:45 to say 6, when I'm working on researching just the latest updates. Then I try to post, a video after a live stream in the morning, somewhere around, probably 7 to 8:30 or so. And then
Mhm.
I have a course member live at 8:30 to 9:30 or so. This is obviously weekdays, not weekends. And then my goal is to do more deep research. So I spend a lot of time reading. I do a lot of that reading anywhere between 9:30 to 11:30 or so. I usually like to go on a short run around lunch just to get like sort of excited again about the day and get
Mhm.
re-energized. And then we'll get market close, and I'll get into earnings calls, and I'll read earnings reports the afternoon, look for analyst reports and research. And some of that goes into videos in the same day, which can get put together pretty quickly. Some of it goes into videos the next day.
So, and do you have a big project coming up, like a Series A something? Is this for accredited investors or is it just for like anybody can invest?
It'll be first for accredited investors.
Okay.
Maybe within 9 months thereafter, it'll be for non-accredited. So there'll be about at least a 9 month gap.
So can you tell us a bit more about that? That's very interesting to me. I'm a course
Mm.
member. I got all your courses. So I don't know
Thank
what
you.
you're the best, man. What is the whole idea that that you guys gonna refinance it at some point and then so how does this work?
Yeah, well, we don't have all of the details yet, so there's
Okay.
limited information that we can really put out there because we don't have the perfect answer yet. But
Mhm.
we're looking for a company that can actually really innovate in the real estate space, and
Mhm.
that's hard to do because it's I mean real estate is very person intensive.
Mhm.
There's a lot of manpower essentially that you
Mhm.
need to renovate real estate, to find
Mhm.
real estate, and so systematizing that with either AI defined deals or better property management softwares,
Well,
competing with the likes of BlackRock or syndications or Open Door. Like these are all sort of on the radar, and so figuring out the best way to do that is what we're determining now. And then once we have the best action plan, then we'll look to share that idea in full.
That's that's great. Let me ask you something. So you used to be, I don't know if you changed that, but you used to be like one man does it all, right? Like, but I
Sure.
see you now, you kind of changing, right? Like you try to get more like employees, right? Because it's
Yeah,
impossible.
yeah. It's there's a limit to how many employees you can really, in my opinion, have for like the creative side of YouTube, because
Mhm.
there's you're sort of limited by how much energy you have to make videos. And if I use all my video or my energy to make my own videos by myself, and then I don't have that much energy left to go film around with a big
Okay.
team or whatever. So right now I just have one person that helps me, and he's amazing.
That's great. So you see, like I'm struggling with YouTube, man. I'm starting out, and I want to ask you like about your journey. So the idea here is we got a house last year too, so like I'm slammed. But the idea here is I want to move towards doing this. That's what I love, and I know that that's what you love too. That's why you prioritize in the beginning, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So, but the thing is, it's not making any good money for me to for this to make sense for me to devote my time here now, you know. And I spend all this money on the studio and all these things. So, I mean, what did you do?
Yeah, I mean the biggest thing is obviously I mean I started making YouTube before I ever thought YouTube would make any money. For me, it
Yeah.
wasn't about making money. It was just sort of like sharing my perspective.
Okay.
And if I could, if I went to a client and they're like, oh, you have this TV commercial from 2014, oh, and you have 20,000, 30,000 subscribers on YouTube. Oh, that's so cool. Hey, I want to list my house with you and sell it. That was always the goal for me. It was just sort of this like fringe benefit of like, hey, if I could provide value online, great. I can sell more real estate. Or another one was for me, if I could provide value to first-time home buyers, put it in a YouTube video, and I could just say to a first-time home buyer, hey, make sure you watch all these videos on YouTube here, so that way you're prepared for what we're going to be doing in the actual buying process. Then that would save me hours of work sitting at a coffee shop with them, explaining the same thing over and over and over again individually, which could just be in a video. So that's kind of where it started for me. It was just this relentless desire of providing value for people. And really, I was not looking at it as like, oh, everybody online. It was really looking at it as like, only provide value to people who could potentially be my clients.
I see.
That obviously, people seem to like that online. And so then only when things sort of transition to where it's like, wow, okay, YouTube can actually pay more than real estate, did it make sense to just try to provide even more value online and kind of double or triple down on YouTube.
So, okay. And then when did you start optimizing for money? Because, you know, at some point you realize that, holy crap, this can make a lot of money, right? So was this after like a certain point or?
Well, I mean, I don't know that the goal generally is what are people wanting? And so the goal starts with solving what it is that they're wanting. So if they're curious about stocks, then how can you provide value there that nobody else is doing, right? If they're just CNBC headlines, I don't really think anybody's providing value by doing that. And so it has to be deeper information where they watch a video of yours and they're like, oh my gosh, wow, I never realized that, or I never thought about that perspective, or never heard that statistic before. That's really useful. If you're providing value in real estate, for example, hey, here's a great way to buy a home for less than it's actually worth, where you can instantly build your net worth. Those are things that provide a lot of value to the audience. And so that's a tough thing to figure out how to do, because there are a lot of people trying to provide information on YouTube. And so breaking out and figuring out, hey, this is my niche, this is what people want, is a tough thing. Usually what I recommend is you make 10 videos and you try to provide a lot of value in each of them and see which one your audience responds best to, or which one people come to. Get 10 videos out, wait a couple weeks, look back and say, all right, what do people want more of, and do that.
I see. So a stock market question too. When is the bull market coming back, man? You see, I have a bull here, and he's very sad now, bro. He's very sad.
Yeah, it's a tough market. It's usually when the Federal Reserve U-turns and relaxes. That's usually when we have more consistent of a bull run coming back. That doesn't necessarily mean we can't go lower, or that we, that we've hit a bottom and we're up from here. Nobody really knows that. But my expectation is, with more certainty, once the Federal Reserve relaxes, that'll be sort of a sign to the stock market that, okay, you're in the clear. The question, though, is like, I mean, we know that historically that's true. The question, though, is, will the market try to predict that rally and therefore, run up stock prices substantially before the Fed U-turns, just based on the Fed saying things like, oh, maybe we're going to, pause in September, which they've already done. Maybe it makes sense to go back to 25 basis points or 0 in September. They start saying that, markets start trying to price that in as that optimism.
So where do you see them around 2.5 at the end of the year, right? 2.75, something around there, right? That's tip
Yeah,
out,
yeah,
bro?
probably 2.75, right around there. We really need inflation to start ticking down. If inflation does start ticking down and we get headline and core down, headline maybe down into the high sixes and
Mhm.
core down to, gosh, I don't know, maybe 4% or something like that consistently. If we get these things down by the end of the year, to these levels, I think the Fed's going to say, all right, like we're on the trajectory. We've pushed the snowball down the hill. Let's just wait now for like inflation to continue to fall on its own with rates hitting around 2.75. I
You
think the
know the most
market.
annoying. Mhm.
Sorry.
No, I was gonna say the most annoying thing is when like they shouldn't be allowed to talk, man. This is crazy. Like you have to keep an eye on the schedule that of the talk of the Fed people. Like
Yeah.
they say these things, they crash the market like for no reason. It's the stupidest thing, but I guess that's how the game is played, right?
Yeah, it's all part of the game. Yeah, I mean their job is to just go out there every day and make sure the market knows. Don't worry, we're fighting inflation hard over here because they
Mhm.
don't want those inflation expectations taken off to the moon like they did in the 70s, because then you really gotta throw the markets into a depression, and if you do that, the dollar could end up losing its status as the world's reserve currency because it was clearly a mismanaged policy mistake happened. So they try to avoid that by just talking to us.
So another question I have for you. So how do you like? What is it for you? Is it family balance? Is it family
Mm.
merging with work? Like how do you find this thing, man? Because this is a hard thing to do, bro. So how do you do it? I got three stepkids. I got a wife too. So like it's hard.
Yeah, yeah, no, it's not easy. I think you've kind of got to you certainly have to set a time where you're going to stop work, right? I think that's one of
Mhm.
the most important things that's worked well for me. So, for example, if I say, "Hey, today we're leaving the house at 4:30 and we're going to Dave and Buster's or whatever, or I'm taking the
Mhm.
kids to Chuck E. Cheese or whatever." Well, now my goal is to get all my work done before that. So I get really motivated to get work done before that. If
Okay.
there's nothing on the calendar, then there's sometimes a little less motivation to get work done, and then it ends up slipping over to the next day. So oftentimes I find just sort of tricking myself into, okay, well, there's a commitment coming up. Let's get done as much as we can. That helps a lot.
I see. That's good advice. You know what else I was thinking? Like right before you came on, I wanted to ask you this. So you seem every year you seem to have something that makes you bite more than you can handle. Like I don't know,
Yeah.
like last year you did the governor thing. Now this year you're doing this Series A. Like seems so. Like, do you have a blueprint? Like because you tackle these goals that they're so big and audacious, and it seems like why would you even try? But you tackle
Yeah.
them, and I
Well, I
love that
mean,
about you. Uh-huh.
I,
So
I
what's your blueprint?
Well, I wouldn't try them unless I thought that they were going to be wildly successful. No, they don't
Okay.
always end up being wildly successful. So I'm always
Okay.
trying to think to myself, okay, what's next? What can I
Mhm.
do next that's bigger and better and just constantly growing. I think ultimately that's what we're all looking for is growth and then hopefully success, although failure happens a lot too. So but that's just part of the game. So if you fail early is sort of the best thing that can happen because then you can go in a different direction. But yeah, I mean, look, there's always a desire to grow, and so I get excited by that idea. And yeah, you're right. It's always something else.
Dude, I remember in the beginning, like he used to focus your energy on Grant Cardone and all these people. I'm like, why is he doing this to himself? But now
Yeah.
you seem like you challenge the right way. That's great, man. And I see that
Yeah,
it's like
thanks.
your motivation to get out of bed, right? Something like that.
Yeah, oh, yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, markets are fun. They're constantly changing. I really like that. And even with the Cardone days, it was always fun. Like I'd have a title or whatever, Cardone
Okay.
exposed or whatever. But in the video, I always made sure to be really respectful. Like, wow, this is brilliant. This is how he really makes money. Oh, this is really interesting. Like, Cardone says you shouldn't buy a house. Here's why I have a different opinion or whatever. But I
Mhm.
never, wanted to go out and just sort of do like the slander kind of videos where you get people that are like, oh, someone's a scam or this is just wrong. Like that kind of stuff is just really bad. You don't want to go down that road.
So what's next for you, man? Now, what's next?
Yeah, well, I mean, the next thing is really just dialing in how we're going to work the Series A. That's the biggest plan. But yeah, otherwise, content. Can we make
Okay.
good content while we're traveling? What can we do? How can we do it? So that's what we're excited about.
How do you manage that? Because you see, I have a studio too, and I know how easy it is to just push something out here. But when you're traveling, how do you do it? Like, do you rent I was thinking maybe you rent a separate room and then you go to the room and then you do your work and then go back to your family. Or how do you do it?
Traveling's a lot harder. Usually, I mean, the easiest for me would be just using my iPhone and plugging in a microphone so I have good audio
The
and just
Ben
not cutting
Malaway,
it. Hmm?
the Ben Malaway. I saw that. You had fun there, huh?
Yeah, yeah, oh, yeah, yeah. No, that was really fun. Yeah, that's actually an easy way to just, if you're alone doing it yourself, you just run and gun that way. That's an easy way to do it because then you have high quality audio, you've got a high quality picture, and you just have to treat it like a live stream in that case. Like, all right, we're gonna do a 10-minute live stream. Here's my thought or whatever. So
I
that's
see.
that's the travel way.
That's great. That's these are great insights. You know what I want to ask you more too? Like, how was Texas? Like, did you? Because like I want to get an insider's perspective. I saw all your updates, but like, what did? Because I saw, by the way, too, you sent an alert. You bought, and I knew that you bought Tesla at a high, right? Do you remember that? One day you were there, you're hyped about Tesla, and you bought Tesla at 1,000
Sure.
something, right?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
And I knew that you knew that you could get it cheaper, but you just chose to buy it because you don't care for the short term, probably, right? So
Well,
like,
no, it's not that you don't care about the short term.
Mhm.
It's I think the expectation was that they were going to wildly blow earnings out of the water,
Okay.
which they really did.
Yeah.
But even though they blew earnings out of the water, they
Mhm.
still ended up falling 30 something percent. So it sucks. Sometimes that happens. But I think if it weren't for the Fed tightening cycle we were in, they'd probably be a $1,500 stock.
Oh yeah.
So for me, if anything, this weird thing happens where, like, if you buy this stock that you're enamored with it in a fundamental way at a higher level, and then it falls, it's a great opportunity to sort of just average down, because then your
Yeah.
basis gets dragged down, and really you could sort of dilute your higher purchase by buying more lower. And it's a fantastic thing because then you end up with more shares. Now, obviously, if you look back in hindsight, would it just be easier to just wait and be patient? Totally. And patience is one of the hardest things in stocks. Like,
It
you
is,
have
man.
money and it just burns a hole in your pocket, and you're like, I gotta deploy it. And then, like, usually if you rush, you make a mistake. And I think that was a little bit rushed.
But what did you see that did you see things that blew your mind, or like, because I got the general idea, but like what like blew your mind there?
Well, I don't know that it was so much that like what was seen there was what was mind blowing. I think it was
Okay.
more of, oh my gosh, if we take this model and this blueprint for this factory and the machinery, and we copy and paste it, which
Mhm.
they will. All of the estimates that Tesla has forecast for earnings growth, for production growth, they're all going to get blown out of the water. And,
Yeah.
and so really, 30% here or there is going to be nominal compared to if in the next decade we have, or even in the next 5 years, we have somewhere between 10 new gigafactory announcements. This is not a matter of a 30% swing anymore. This is a 3 to 4x. So it's pretty wild.
That's all I do. Like at some point you were talking about it, and you're like, why do I do anything else? That's all I do. I just do Tesla and Google. I'm done.
There you go.
No,
Great
I'm
companies.
not. All like Enphase is nice too. I know you like it too. Celsius I like too, but I'm not touching them. And this market, it's a big mess.
Yeah, and Enphase has been, in personal opinion, has been
Mhm.
it's kind of been holding up its value, but that actually kind of makes it a little less desirable to buy.
Yeah, because then if you have another downturn, then this is gonna give it up too. Like it's
They
just
have more to fall. Yeah.
like it's crazy.
Yeah.
And what about Q2 earnings, real quick? Do you think that Elon is gonna pull another like trick and he's gonna manage to beat it, or Shanghai is gonna hit him hard?
Oh no, yeah. I mean, Shanghai's going to suck. That's going to be a big hit to
Mhm.
delivery numbers. Wall Street's kind of already been pricing that in, though, so I don't know how much of a surprise that'll be. I think the surprise will be, can they beat Wall Street's estimates for deliveries despite Shanghai? And I think that's what it's going to be about, as well as forecast for the next quarter. Like, hey, are we done with all the Shanghai lockdowns and stuff now? That's going to be pretty key. We're in the last month of Q2 right now, so we'll see what they can pull off. But then we want to get this behind us, Shanghai lockdowns behind us, and just focus on the future.
So do you think around this time, this is where like the change happens, like around this summer? Do you think we're gonna see an uptick in everything else? If inflation comes down, you think we're gonna see a turn towards the upside, probably?
Yeah, we probably won't see really inflation come down until, my guess, like August or September.
Okay.
And I think that's if we really start seeing nice drops in inflation by August, September, when we start lapping, especially when we start lapping, what Delta did to us last August, September, October, like certainly by
Mhm.
October. And once we start getting those numbers and we start actually seeing, okay, we're not really inflating that much above the Delta numbers,
Mhm.
That's where we could really set up for an end of the year rally. So my goal is just, hey, next 6 months, or what are we in right now? No, we're in 6. So next 3-4 months, buy as many stocks and shares, get as many shares as possible. So that way, when that rally time comes, I paid my dues.
Okay, last question for you because I want to be respectful to your time, man. So I saw you started as a YouTube as a real estate guy on YouTube, right? And then you made a switch on stocks. And like for me, like it makes sense too. Like it's so much easier. There's no closing, no due diligence. But like were you always like that, or like at some point you're like, okay, this is the way I want to go? Like,
Well, I think it depends on sort of where you think the market cycle is. So for
okay.
me, it was obvious, at the end of 2018 that there were great deals in stocks because the market was so low. So I was plowing money into stocks. The same was true for real estate back in 2011. In
Mhm.
2011, the stock market already bottomed in 2009, and real estate was just bottoming in 11 and the beginning of 2012. So for us, we're like, oh my gosh, we got to get our hands on as much real estate as possible. Now, I've been selling real estate and throwing all that money into stocks because I
In the
think
market.
stocks are approaching a bottom, whereas real estate is kind of near a top. So I
I
think it
see.
really depends on sort of where I think the macro cycle is,
Mhm.
and that's what makes me most excited.
I love it, man. Thank you so much, brother. I really appreciate you, man. You're the best.
Thanks, man. Appreciate
I
it.
would love to buy you a tequila or whatever if you're in Boston. I would love to get you a drink, all right?
For sure, man. We'll have to do a meetup. Thanks, man.
Let's do it. I love you, my brother. Keep
Thanks.
grinding. Huge shout out to Kevin for making this happen. Here is his channel. If you got some time, subscribe to me too. Here is another video if you have some time. I love you guys. Catch you on the next one.